Hi, my name's Ashley, and I'm here to talk to you about how important it is to have a correct menu design in any restaurant or any actual business. Um, we are going to go over how to design the menu, what the effects it can have, and how to go about it. And then I'll give you some opinions on my recent places I've been and what I thought about their menus. First is how to design the menu. When looking at the menu, colors are very important. You want to stick to colors that go with your decor, go with your actual business, but you don't want it to become overbearing. Like, you're not going to want to use a yellow background with white or bright red writing. You don't want it to be crazy, but you still want people to be able to understand it and read it. The next thing is style. There are many different styles out there. One of the things that I have noticed is that places use trifold, bifold, huge menus of one page, which is, I think, a little overbearing. It's too much to be holding that, especially when you're at a table with someone else. You have these huge menus. You just gotta look at the appropriate style for the place you are in. Next, we have the spacing. Spacing on a menu is extremely important for, you want to make sure people are able to read it. If things are too mumble jumbled together, it's gonna all run together and they're not gonna be able to see the separation. They're not gonna notice all of that. You want them to be able to see the difference between the title and then the description, and make sure there's space for the next title and description. Pricing wise too, you want to make sure your pricing's in the perfect location too in order to read it. You also want to make sure with the spacing that you don't space it out too far that it's like, oh, there's so many pages. Just need that right balance in the middle. Next is what role it has. So the colors and the effects it has is just like I was talking about. The yellow background with red writing is really distracting. I would stick to a more neutral background. I know a lot of places stick to a cream or a tan, something of that neutral color palette. And then they have a bright writing that you can easily see. Also, you could do black, which is a main factor. A lot of people do black, which is easiest to read, especially in the lighting. It all depends on your lighting too. If you have a space where there's not much lighting, you want to make sure it's a light menu and dark writing so they can read it. So it all comes down to your environment and what the colors can do. The fonts. The fonts play a big role. You want something that is going to be big, easy to read, not so crazy, but you want something fun to go with your restaurant or your business. A couple would be, like your cursive. That's extremely hard to read, especially on a menu. I know a lot of really fancy restaurants can get away with it, but the places that are your normal places everybody goes to, I don't recommend it for, it can cause people to be a little bit confused on the menu and not be able to understand it, or get a few letters confused and different things like that. They're not going to understand it. Next, what role does it have? Everything that comes together at the end, you want to make sure, as you can see in the example picture, that the font is bold, and big, so you can know that that's the title. Underneath, you have a description of what it is, and then you have your pricing to the right hand side, which is very smart. Another very smart thing on this is they have pictures. It is always good to have pictures on a menu so that people can understand what they might be ordering. It gets them enticed into what they want. The food makes their mouth water. They want to try it. They see, oh, that looks really good. I think I'm going to try that. Sometimes just reading words does not entice people enough to want to try it. So the pictures in there help tremendously. Like I said, the font on here is bold. I'm not a huge fan of the all capitals, but it does its job, and that's the main portion of what it's supposed to do. Everybody can read it, it's understandable. The pictures, like I said, give you a little bit of a sense. Also, at the top of each of the sections, it shows what it is. There's a pizza section and appetizers, sandwiches, your main entrees, which could include pasta, fish, chicken, things like that. So at least they're giving you a little bit more of a description. Next, how to start. In this, I think the way to start is going to be sitting down, looking at how many things you're going to put on your menu. You need to know how many items are going to be on there, from sides to entrees to appetizers to desserts, salads, soups, sandwiches, how many titles you're going to have, and how many items are going to be under each. This gives you kind of an idea of, wow, I have quite a bit. It's going to need to be a bigger menu. It's going to be a bifold, trifold, give you a little more of options. The next thing on that, I think you need to find the spacing. Actually look and format it out without going into a computer system yet and using a software. You want to make sure that you're prepared for this. Have all your fonts, or not even fonts, have all your pricing and your descriptions written down so you can get that put in, and then mess around with your fonts and your styles and your colors. You want to make sure you have your core menu before you start playing around, to make sure that everything fits well. With the fonts, like I said, do something very easy to read. You want to make sure people can see it, understand it, and be very readable. That's the word I'm looking for. Readable. You want it to be able to understand. If you're struggling with this, I would turn to either some of your coworkers, your marketing manager, even your higher ups to help you out, because it also is good to have the extra eyes to look at the different things, seeing the different types that other people come up with, their thoughts and ideas. Guaranteed, stick to your guns, but having those other thoughts and ideas can help you make the menu even better. In this, I do recommend coming up with a final menu, and if you're struggling with the final menu, have a couple of menus. Use one week and use one the next week, and see what the feedback is from the people, if they're able to read it, if they understand it, if they like it, if they don't like it. It all comes down to what you want your menu to look like and who can help you out with that. So my opinions. Some of my opinions, I went to Granite City here recently and love their food. Amazing food. Nothing is horrible on the menu. Never had a bad thing. But I felt their menu was a book. Literally a book. I think it's like 5 pages. And in this, I think that they could probably have a separate drink menu so that you could see their beers and stuff separate, rather than putting it all together, because your food is actually in the back, which is understandable because you get your drinks first. But I think it was just a little too much to have on one menu. Next, I went to Casa del Rey. Casa del Rey, love their food. Amazing. Really bright menu. Bright yellow menu with black lettering. Kind of distracts you from trying to see what you want to see on that menu. Next, I went to Shenanigans. They had a huge menu. It was extremely long menu. A front side and a back side. Great spacing. Did not have any pictures of the food. Kind of upset me because that's, once again, eye catcher, mouth watering. So I was a little upset with that, but otherwise, they did pretty well on their menu. Colors were like a light green with black writing, and in their lighting, easy to read. Next, I had Craven. Craven is a local place that is a bar and grill, and they did very well with their menu, I think, just because it's not mumbled together. It has definite spacing. Few pictures here and there. Showed a little bit of the different styles they have. They showed their wraps. They showed their different ways in food. Their steaks. Different things like that. They kind of gave you a little bit of a hint of everything. Then I went to Chevy's. Chevy's is one of my favorite places, especially for the margaritas. In this, I had noticed, their pictures. That was the one thing. I always go straight to the pictures when I open a menu. I have no reason why, but I always do. I always like to see what possibly could come out and what looks delicious just by looking at it, because look is one of your senses. And in their menu, they do really well with also their spacing, their boldness on keeping the prices, everything readable, legible. So I did enjoy their trip also. Okay, so once again, we went over how to go about starting your menu with your fonts, your colors, the different roles each thing plays, how it needs to be legible, easy for people to read, understand. You don't want to confuse people when they walk in and be like, oh, here's this, 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 and this. You want to be able to give them the time to understand it and read it and have a description that gives you a mouth-watering feeling. Then also where to turn. You have all your different places to turn. Like I said, you can go to coworkers, you could call the software site and ask them for some help. There's many different things. Also on softwares, there's a lot of templates, and I've noticed a lot of people go with a template and then kind of tweak it to be their own, which is really smart to do, because I did it with my resume. I did it, it's really nice to just have that starting point and kind of make it your own. And then my opinions on some of the restaurants I've been to. Great places, love the food at all of them. Just a couple menus could be a little switched around, look a little better, but you can't complain because every place is different. Like I said, your higher end places have the cursive writing. They have, a little harder menu to understand. And then you get your Everyday Bar and Grill, which has the really bold pricing and writing and easy to understand. But that kind of food is in every kind of restaurant. So it kind of goes both ways. I do think that this will give you a good insight on colors and fonts and styles to use for your menu. If you have any questions, like I said, contact anybody you can. But I think this is extremely important in the actual menu design. It's what people are looking at, the food, the pictures, things like that. You want to make sure it's readable. Like I said, if you have any questions, contact anybody you need to. But I hope your menu design goes great and it's an easy, smooth transition for you.